I've survived 1 year in hardcore Minecraft. I started this world on January 15th of 2022. And as of the time of this recording, it is now January 16th of 2023. And I am extremely proud of the 1,471 days that I've survived. And if we look at our statistics, we have survived just over 18 real-life days in this world. And for those of you who are like me and hate doing math, that is 432 hours of gameplay. And we are not done. There's still so much to do in this world on the islands that we've already created and on the ones that we have not yet started, Exhibit A. And we'll be getting to all of that pretty soon, but today I want to take a look back on what we've done so far. Because I realize that not all of you guys have been with this series from the beginning, and some of you may have missed an episode here and there. So I want to take a look at all the builds that we have done so far in this series. So, as I mentioned, we started this world in January of 2022 in this village right here. And for the first 100 days or so, this right here was my starter house. But we very quickly outgrew that starter house and went in search of the stronghold because we decided that we were going to live in the end this season. We found it about 1,000 blocks away in the nearby taiga biome, and something you don't get to see very often is just above the stronghold is where I actually have my mob farm for this world. Now we're gonna head down the staircase into the stronghold, and I made this staircase just recently actually, before we had to use this really janky one wide staircase that I hated, and I honestly can't believe it took so long for me to get rid of it. And I know the stronghold isn't much to behold right now, but I do have some plans to renovate it in the near future. But if we head over the portal here, we head into an area I call the Ark. This is where I intend to keep all the passive mobs in the game, before bringing them to the end anyways. Speaking of the end, let's head over there now. As you can probably see, our main end island has not changed a whole lot since we started. But just off the right side of the main end island, we have my main source of experience, the Enderman farm, which, as you can probably see in this demonstration, is in dire need of an upgrade. And off to the left of the island, we have our main end bridge, which brings us to the outer islands and our main base area. Coming across the end bridge and watching all my islands come into view has easily got to be one of my favorite things in this world. And the first thing that we see when we get here is our starter island, the very first thing that I constructed in the end. And I actually still have all of the replay footage from this series too, so here's what the island used to look like before all the terraforming was done, and before the tower was there, and before the trees, before everything. Looking back on the transformation of this island, I'm very proud of how it turned out, and this is one of the few islands that is actually almost done. Anyways, the next thing that I finished on this island was this wizard tower and aqueduct. And this was my starter base in the end for several hundred days. The next thing I took on was an absolutely massive project, and that was terraforming this island right beside the starter island. This is where I wanted to do all of my farming, and I spent several hundred days working on this project. It took me over 100 days to gather all the materials to build it, and another 100 to actually build up the island itself. And this was a major source of burnout for me because I did all of this over the span of about 1 week. All I can say is never again. Also, while this time lapse is running, let's all take a second to head down to the bottom of the video and hit that big red subscribe button. It only takes a second and it goes a long way towards supporting this channel. This island was a huge undertaking, and as you can probably tell, I am nowhere close to finished. Despite having built quite a few things on this island already, there's so much empty space and I am really excited to fill it all up. And don't worry, one day I'll finish the back of this. But despite there being so much empty space, we have managed to build some amazing things on this island, and one of my favorite things that I've built in this entire world is actually right here on this island, the village. I just really love the atmosphere of this place. I don't know what it is, but it's amazing. And while we're talking about atmosphere, we can't forget to mention the barn. This is another place that we managed to just bring so much life to with very simple detailing. And it has a great view of the rest of the island from the upstairs area where we keep our auto sheep farm. We also have this nice little apiary on the far end of the island where I'm eventually going to build an orchard as well. And last but not least for our farming island, underneath the windmill we have a giant area dedicated to automatic farms. Right now all we have is an automatic sugarcane farm, but we'll be expanding this in the near future. I kept the wizard tower as my base for far longer than I should have, and I outgrew it pretty fast. So when it became apparent that I needed an upgrade, I started on my main base island. Unfortunately I don't have any replay footage for this, but as you can see, I built a giant factory. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, the factory is mostly empty. But like most other things in this world, I do have a vision for it, and I'm hoping it'll come to light pretty soon. With that being said, there's one thing in this factory that is finished, and that is the storage room, and I'm extremely happy with how this turned out, despite having to scrap my original one. Now, on to my final major build in this world, and it's just around the corner of the factory here, my desert island. This was my most recent build. I only did it in episode 11, but I'm very happy with how it turned out, just like most of my builds. And in case anyone is curious, I freehand all of these builds, the islands, the buildings, everything. I have some very loose designs sometimes, but for the most part, I just start placing blocks and see where it takes me. I essentially think of a block palette, think of an idea, and then I start placing the blocks. More times than not, I have to tear it down a few times before I'm happy with the build, but I'll do that as many times as I need to make sure I get the result that I want. And here's the end result of the island after the time lapse. Not a whole lot changed from the time lapse, but I did add a few paths and I thought of a few more ideas for what I'm going to do here. For the most part, this is going to be where I do all of my villager stuff, but believe me, this island is far from complete. Up on the top of the Mesa Plateau here, I'm planning on building a big bazaar, so I think that'll add some life to the island too. Whoa, I am super surprised I managed to pack a full year of content into just 8 minutes. But to be fair, I did skip over a fair few things, but you also don't need to see the farms that I built last episode. I'm sure you've seen Nenbon's design 1,000 times over. But one thing that I did forget to show that is on my starter island here is my cave that I built in, what was it, episode 3 or something like that, 3 or 4? And down here is where our original villager breeder is. But I'm really happy with how this cave turned out, aside from this little blocky area here. But I really liked the transition from the stone to the end stone and how we managed to keep it kind of cozy feeling down here with a cave and end feel. The other thing I thought you guys might get a kick out of is my stone and dirt mining area. Just look at how extensive this mining area is. I've had to tear up so much dirt in order to build those islands, and I'm nearly out of dirt and stone again in all of my chests, so I'm gonna have to come and destroy this area even more. But that's what this game is about, mining and crafting. The other area I didn't bother to show you is this dinky little nether area that I have. It is so pathetic for day almost 1500. But the reason that I left it for last is because this is the next thing to go. We're going to be working on this in our next episode. Now, I figure we need to build something in this world to commemorate 1 year of hardcore Minecraft, and I know exactly what to build. And to be perfectly honest, I'm ashamed it's taken me this long to bring this boy into the world. Have you guessed it yet? How about now? Surely you know where this is going now. There he is. My boy's back. Somehow we've managed to go, what is it, 1,476 days without bringing the derp into the world. But I mean, we're in a factory, right? So surely that means we have a company. Derpco? I think so. There we go. We are officially branded Derpco. And for those of you who are newer to the channel, you may not know what this guy is. This is the derp. He's kind of like my channel mascot. When I'm on servers, I get this as a wearable head and I run around terrorizing people with it. And like I said, he's my boy. I had to bring him in. But it is getting to that time in the episode where we have to say goodbye. So thank you everyone for sticking with me for 1 year of hardcore Minecraft. It means a lot, and I hope you guys are excited for what's to come. Like I said, next episode we're going to be working on the Nether a bit more, getting our hub up and running. So if you're excited for that, make sure you're subscribed, that way you don't miss the next video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!